This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Great to be back here again, folks. I'm so excited and happy to have Alexandra Boylan here. Alexandra, so wonderful to have you on air with me. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
So I wanted to share a little bit. I watched your movie. It was on Netflix, Catching Faith. You are a filmmaker. You are also, you own a production company, Mirror Tree Productions. And you've done several films. You are an independent filmmaker. Can you share a little bit about the work that you do?
Yes. Well, a few years ago, God called me to make faith-based films. And it was incredible because it wasn't really the direction I was going in Hollywood, even though my father's a minister and I love the Lord. And I really never thought that I actually was a minister's kid who never rebelled. And then when God called me to make faith-based films, I kind of rebelled a little bit because I was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I got the opportunity to make them, and I have a strong passion to create female-driven films and female-driven films from the female gaze. So when I got the opportunity, I said, well, okay, I'll make a faith-based film and I'll put football in it, but it has to be about a woman. And at the time, our executive producer said, I don't know if we can do that because there's no numbers in the marketplace to back up a female-driven faith-based film. And I said, because nobody's doing it. Who's going to be the one to do it? And now, and he said, okay, and we did Catching Faith, and it's been really exciting to see the spread of Catching Faith, not just in America, but across the world, of women. We just got a message from India from a woman who heard about it from her relatives in New Zealand who were like, how can I get Catching Faith in India? And how can I do the Elijah Project, the book that goes with it? And we're going to Cuba in October because we've been invited on a tour to show Catching Faith. And I think it's just because so many women are so excited to see a movie that speaks to them.
Yes.
And it's just thrilling to me to get to represent women.
I think it was done so well and wonderful, and it is truly, we had conversations off air about women and filmmaking and even the work that we do in finance. You see that scope and, the shift in itself. So the work that you're doing is so very important because it's breaking those barriers as well in respect to movie making. And it was a very well done movie, and being in the film industry, it's constantly changing. Have you seen a lot of changes over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years as a filmmaker?
Yes. Well, because I moved to LA when I was 19, which is 1999. I just told everyone how old I am. I'm just kidding. I'm proud of being 37. But I feel like what's really changing is people taking their careers into their own hands, which is what I've done. Like, I used to pursue acting, and then I decided I wanted to produce, and now it's really encouraged to be able to be a jack of all trades, where I think before it was like, oh, focus on one thing and you can only do that. And now it's sort of like, oh, you produce, you write, and you act. It's like a triple thread. And then that seems to be opening more doors for independent people to come out and not just rely on the studio to say, yes, I give you permission, which I've kind of come to that world that I'm no longer asking permission to do anything. I want to do it. And even like pitching to a studio and them saying no, I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean it's a no. It means they said no and I'll go do it myself.
I like that. Yeah.
And so that's kind of been happening. When I pitched a couple of our new scripts, we heard the word no, and I was like, well, we had no studio behind Catching Faith or my other film, Wish for Christmas. We did that ourselves, and God is just, if God wants something to happen, he'll make it happen.
I agree, 100%.
We've had so many miracles and so many times where God's like, I'm here, I got this, don't worry. And I'm like, okay, I just trust that he's got a plan, and we're going to keep doing it as long as God wants us to.
I'm so with you on that 100%, Alexandra. It is truly with faith that all things can happen, and so it is up to God. At the end of the day, you can push something. We've had conversations on air. We've been on air for 12 years, and sometimes you just need to get out of God's way, and it'll just happen.
Well, what's interesting is I spent 10 years in LA pushing. I'd be like, I want to be an actress. I want this to happen, and no doors would open, and I didn't understand. I was talented, but I just couldn't get, and I finally, when I gave up and gave it to God and said, okay, God, I'm going to stop trying to make a career that just isn't happening. And then God called me to do faith-based. And ever since then, doors have been flying open. And I'm like, okay, God, I will. I'm never going to do it. You just said, like, pushing things. I'm just going to trust. I'm going to keep working hard, keep knocking on doors, and then allow God to do the rest.
That is extremely true and has happened in my life, and I couldn't agree with you more. So
yeah, I mean, you can't sit around and wait for God to do it.
No, you have to work. You have to work away.
Hard and then see what door He opens and how He wants it to work. And I mean, Wish for Christmas was incredible. It was our second independent faith-based film. We sold to PureFlix, which is one of the #1 Christian distribution companies. And I was like, oh my gosh, if this isn't God, I don't know what is. Just because we had applied for a screenplay competition that was through Movie Guide, the Kairos Awards. And we actually had won the competition. And they said to us, wait a minute, we see on IMDb this movie was made with Joey Lawrence. You guys aren't beginners. And we were like, actually, we are beginners. It's just that God just keeps blessing us, you know?
Can you share a little bit about any upcoming projects and what you're going to be doing?
Yes. So we wrote 2 more faith-based films, and we're trying to get them to find investment for. One of them is called Switched, about 2 girls in high school. One's a bully, and one's the girl that she bullies. And she embarrasses her on social media, and the girl gets bullied, goes home and prays to God that the other girl would know what it's like to walk a day in her shoes. And they wake up the next morning switched, and they find compassion and understanding and love for each other. And I feel like it's a really important film to make right now, especially after 13 Reasons Why just came out on Netflix and it said it was for bullying, but it really wasn't. I feel like 13 Reasons Why actually showed kids how to get revenge, where our film Switch shows children how to love each other, how high schoolers how to, and to have compassion. We don't know what's going on in other people's homes and behind closed doors. If someone's bullying, there's a really good reason. And then we also wrote a script called The Inheritance, about an estranged family that returns home to bury their mother, but really to get their inheritance. And their mother leaves clues and challenges for them to find the deed that she's hid to the property. And ultimately what she's trying to teach the family is the only thing that you inherit on earth is a kingdom of heaven. It's a really, really fun family story.
Wonderful. Alexandra, you are terrific. You really are. You're a lot of fun, and you have such great energy. Because, when we chatted, I was like, wow, this is amazing to see women in filmmaking, and you're moving forward. There's such good energy and great stories. You know what I mean? Catching Faith was wonderfully done. I'm looking forward to watching the other movies. You and I are going to meet up later in LA. We're going to do the dinner thing, and I just think that it's wonderful that you're changing lives, you know what I mean, with imagination. And that's really important nowadays, because we have all of this filmmaking that's going on. Some of it just not so useful to
I think the world is desperate for clean family, good stories.
Good stories, good energy, and faith, going back to basics. Let's just go back to basics.
Faith and family and love.
Yes, I know. And so can you just mention a little bit more about the movies that folks can Netflix or purchase real quick? We have 50 seconds. So.
Okay, Catching Faith is on Netflix. It's available on Amazon and iTunes and anywhere that a VOD and DVD is sold. We also have a Christmas movie called Wish for Christmas, about a young girl who wishes her parents' faith away because she thinks it will make her life better. It's sort of like It's a Wonderful Life meets Mean Girls. And that is available on Amazon and iTunes, and will be back in Redbox. And it's on pureflix.com, Pureflix Streaming, which is the streaming platform.
Wonderful. And folks, always wonderful to have you here, Alexandra Boylan. You will be back on air with us. And with that, stay well, folks.
Thank you.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.